Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final quarterfinal matchup of the NASPA Tournament of Champions presented by Scrabble GO. I am Morris Greenberg, and I'm here with expert Scrabble player Josh Sokol. Josh, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic.
We have an excellent match in store today between Austin Shin and Laurie Cohen. Remember to like and subscribe, and let's turn to the games.
I'm looking forward to this matchup. I really think there's going to be a lot of sparks, and let's just get it on.
Yeah, so Austin starts off with ACGRSTT. Josh, I'm guessing you're going to look at something like crag. What are you thinking right now?
Crag is correct. So the word crag scores decently. It doesn't give much back to the opponent. And of course, you're keeping 2 T's on your rack, which isn't ideal, but actually that's not the worst thing in the world. And you're setting up an S hook with Scrag. So that's the biggest thing. Scrag and Crags will play probably. There's no way to block both of those at once. And Austin will have the opportunity to maybe go for an early bingo. Otherwise, you can play tracked, keep things a bit more chilled, I would say.
Yeah, well, tracked scores a bit more, I think. So the scoring does never stop with Austin. You got to remember that. We both mentioned we aren't fans of the G. Just scarred us enough times, but maybe Austin has more luck with it. We'll see.
Doesn't look like it this far, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So look at those fun little tiles that Laurie has.
Yeah, so she has owl tiles, it looks like, and she's holding ADLNRW blank. Promising rack. I'm not seeing bingos right away. Are you seeing anything, Josh?
No, but I'd be looking through the A, because she only has, as we see, there's one word that's playable.
Wow.
Land word. That's really cool. And she's look how
she's finding it.
I mean, come on. Aren't these these players are just, they're fantastic. That's awesome.
And she's deciding which D to put on the double or the triple letter score and which blank to put on the double letter score. So Laurie is known, I think, when she's doing really well, she's a very bingo prone player. So we saw some people in these past set of games sometimes forego a good bingo leave to just score more points. Laurie, from my understanding, tends to have bingos be her like bread and butter for games. So this is exactly the kind of strategy that plays right into her. Hard bingos to find like landward, and she takes a commanding lead as a result. Meanwhile, isagogic?
Is that, oh my god, is that a word?
I don't know.
I'm having trouble.
It's good, it looks
seeing
like.
the screen. Wow.
Hi, my name is Laurie Cohen.
Really sorry about that. Yeah, my Discord crashed. All right. So, what did we miss?
So it looks like Laurie responded with the parallel Fido, making 4 2-letter words. That's kind of also just a play. When you see it, you just got to play that scores so many points. It holds on to your leave. And tiles like the F and I aren't especially valuable, so you're fine getting rid of those.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that's the play to make in almost no time at all. Isagogic. Wow, that is. I was not thinking of that word at all. I was just thinking, how is Austin gonna dump his G's and I's? That's so cool.
Yeah, and so meanwhile, Austin has the J now. There aren't that many J spots right now. The O in isagogic is normally a good tile with the J, but there isn't really much room to play through it. So he might try to do something like Juga through the A inland word, maybe Jew through the W.
I'm liking Jugate, actually.
Oh, Jugate is very nice, yeah.
That's Jugate, everybody.
Yes, it is not like Watergate for the tribe. So we have Quackle open now, and it looks like Jugate is one of the top options there. So
yeah, I think it's okay, like to get rid of your last consonant, so long as you're not keeping like 3 E's on your rack. Rather, you're keeping 2. So sometimes EE will work out for you, sometimes it won't, but it's not the worst 2-tile leave in the game. So that's what I'll be hoping to see. See if he's doing that or Juga.
yeah, no, Jugate is definitely a better idea, I think, than Juga. And based on Austin's first few moves of plays like Tract, opting to play more tiles, open up the board a bit more, I'm going to guess he plays Jugate, although he hasn't put down the other 2 letters yet.
Yeah, there you go.
There goes. There he goes.
There you go. That's a champion level play for sure, for sure. Now back to Laurie, who has, again, too many vowels, same as Austin last turn. She's probably going to be able to score a decent amount, but can she keep a good leave here?
Yeah, I mean, she has the O is a great tile to have when the J just comes down, but she doesn't have a ton of room there. It looks like she's going to find a very nice play of Rioja.
Yeah, she sees it, but she's just thinking about it. And once again, we'll come back to this. If you find a good play, try it. What is the saying? I think I'm saying it wrong. If you see a good play, look for better. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely a good mantra. I've definitely lost games because I got too excited about a pretty good play and I missed the star play. So one other option that's a newer word is emoji that was recently added within the past few years. But I think this is also just fine. Especially go for it.
We need some emojis in the chat for that. Like I mean, it's such an apt word for this competition. If we don't have any emojis in the chat after this, I don't know what we're gonna do. Rioja is also a good play. I think it's because keeping the M is pretty good for scoring chances, and since Laurie's ahead, there's no need to keep 3 1-point tiles on her rack. It might still be a better idea to play emoji just for the extra points and chance at a bingo, but keeping the M is very safe here.
Definitely agreed. And it looks like at this point that there's a lot of vertical words coming down, things like landword, isagogic, Fido, and Rioja. If that continues, it's going to be hard to bingo on the left side of the board. It's most likely, if bingos come down during this game, if this continues, for it to be off of the E in Jugate or the T in Tract. So that's definitely something to monitor if that sort of style of going upwards rather than across continues.
And the play of Rioja also blocked the extensions of Tract. So playing Tract in that particular spot opened up a possibility of contract or subtract. I know
distract because we're not focusing on Austin's play that he just made.
You know? It's true. Okay, go ahead. Talk about
no,
OG.
It's okay. I mean, it's one of those classic words you just need to know at top level play. There's all these vowel dumps like OG, Agio, Heio, Kai, all those sorts of words, or acai, I guess is how you pronounce it. I just remember these things by how they look just in my brain for the game. But those sorts of words are just often needed just to clear out the bad stuff on your rack and get towards scoring 50, 60 plus points turn.
Yeah, and whoever said the G was a bad tile, it appears that Austin has scored 120 points with all 3 Gs in the span of 3 turns. So that's some
GG status, right?
That's some GG status.
Some good game status. Yeah.
Wow, this is a really cool find.
Yeah.
Wow, that I would never have seen that play. That's even though it's a French word, I speak fluent French. Vicomte. To see a word that goes MT and making a 2-letter word like RE, that's just really, really good. That's really cool.
Yeah, and so, but this was what we were just talking about also, board shape-wise. It's going to get harder and harder to get bingos on the left side of the board with another play like that. Luckily, there is still in the second column, that is column B, if you see the kind of battleship-type grid when we zoom in on the individual player view. That could be an option for bingos, but my guess is most of those opportunities will come on the right side of the board horizontally.
Right. And if I were in Austin's shoes right now, I'd try Wattler, because I think waddle is good, but does not take the R. Yeah, you can see it's the 5th option there, waddle for 25 points. It's actually a decent idea, making EW with the E in Jugate. But yeah, I would definitely wonder if waddler was a word, but Austin's word knowledge is so good that he probably doesn't need that to try that.
Yeah, so waddler isn't an option. I guess what would be your objectives here when you're sort of closest to a bingo? You're down by 36 points in this game, and it looks like really only one half of the board will be available to you for bingos in the future.
Well, we can see he's trying TEWEL, which I believe is an international word, but re-wet is actually a decent option here, and I think he's putting it down. It scores very well. It keeps good tiles. ALT can lead to a lot of bingos, and it doesn't commit any which way. And I've been talking about this a lot. If you're committing to one aspect, that might backfire. If you're committing to getting a bingo next turn, if you're committing to getting a high score instead, or to play defense or to play offense, that reduces your options. Rewet leaves Austin's options wide open for next turn.
Yeah, and that gives him striking distance too from catching Laurie. The score is now 172 to 160 in Laurie's favor. It is her turn right now, and it looks like she's wasting no time and playing Naya's.
Yeah, no good.
Oh, so Naya by itself without the S is good, but right, but
yeah,
no
correct.
S. Yeah.
So a play she could make there instead, Naya's would obviously Nya is probably how you pronounce it.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
It would score by far the most points. But something you could play there is Yuans for 33, as you can see, the 5th option there. If you really want to score, but she can score without using her S, so she might want to do that instead. We're seeing the top play Navi, getting rid of the V and the Y, which are 2 poor tiles on her rack. That plays with the V in Vicomte. That's a decent option. I'm not sure I like putting the N out there, but yeah.
Yeah, I just, on this board, the S has little utility aside from that OG spot, to be honest. So I'm actually fine with Yuans, and I think actually Quackle might be underrating that in this kind of predetermined way, just because the S's value here isn't that large. It can Jugate even take an S? I forget.
No.
Yeah, Jugate can't. So there really isn't that much opportunity for the S here. I like this idea that Laurie is considering right now.
Yeah, I do as well. I'm honestly liking it more and more. There's also the option of YUCH with that C in Vicomte, that word we're talking about. That scores 24 points, and it doesn't open anything up, and it retains the S. It actually also blocks. It blocks that nice B column you were talking about that Austin can use to come back into the game with the bingo. So that's actually also a good option here. I might play that instead, because I really just, if I can, I want to hold on to an S to see how the board develops.
That's fair. And yeah, so that's a good point that we're still pretty early in the game. If you pre-commit to a strategy too early and don't have the flexibility to adjust later, it could come back to bite. This board can definitely develop. We've seen that throughout this tournament. If you have 7 columns unused, there's a lot of opportunity for things to change. Josh, what are you going to do now? Oh, we forgot Laurie's next play, she actually put down Yuan's right before we left. So now she takes a 45-point lead. And we started talking about Austin's play. Josh, I know you like Lek a lot. Do you like this idea of Silk that Austin's putting down?
It's a lot less dangerous than Lek, and it keeps a better leave. So I might sit here corrected by Austin's play. It's true that playing Lek, even though it scores 18, it scores the double of what Silk scores. Just opens up a big spot for Laurie to come back with not much counterplay for Austin. So hey, this is a very defensible play. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to start opening up the other side of the board if you're Austin. If you're down here, you definitely want to give yourself more options. Unfortunately, because of the newest 2-letter word added, okay, Laurie will have outvie for a lot of points as an option here, though.
Or fortunately, depends who you're
Or fortunately. Yeah, that's true. Whenever I say unfortunately on these broadcasts, I never mean I'm rooting for one player. I just mean in reference to the play that player made. It's not going to work out how they intended.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Or we could be partial. No, for the record, I am rooting for both these players. They're both excellent, and they're both already providing some great Scrabble play. Finding Landward and Isagogic, I probably would have missed both those bingos in a real game, so they're already light years ahead of me.
And look what Austin drew. He drew XQ. Isn't that insane? When does that happen?
Yeah, I remember, I think once I held like REST and drew 3 tiles and it was QXJ, and I was just like, what do I do here?
That's a bit crazy. So he has now a lot of scoring options. It'd be interesting to see what he chooses. I mean, by far the best is playing Lex or Lax or Tax or even Nex in that spot we were just talking about next to Rioja. But once again, that opens up some nice comebacks for Laurie. So who knows? There's also Latex that scores by far the most. Well, not by far, but by 1 point. And he can also just drop the Q, which is what
I really like to be doing. That. Yeah, this is a really clever idea, I think. Oh, he takes it back, so he's considering playing an X play, but I really like just dropping the Q there. I just don't think this board's going to be that good for the Q long term, and I think there definitely could be opportunities for the X coming up, just because Laurie's just going to have to make a play that opens stuff up soon. It just seems like the right move to get rid of the Q first. Even though it scores 20 plus less points, you got to think in a relative
sense. What he drew.
I know, he drew X-Plant. That's awesome.
So, I mean, that just goes to show, like, these players, you see a huge X spot, and to have the wherewithal to just be like, you know what? Let me think about this. This Q is so bad. Let's just get rid of it now. At worst, I'm going to have AX and AY and XU with the letters, the YU and UONs, and that's going to score me 41 points. And hey, I'll have great letters for the next turn as well. That's just a great decision, and it looks like it's going to work out really well for Austin. While Laurie has 3 N's.
Yeah, that wasn't the best draw, though. Whenever you play off 6 tiles, you leave yourself a lot more volatile for just getting 3 N's or something like that. And it looks like she's going to try to play off 2 of them here. Unfortunately, Henny is not a word in this dictionary. I'm actually not sure if it's good in the international dictionary either. But she's going to keep looking. What does she even have here? It's not the best board at this point.
Yeah, you might even just play Nanny. Get rid of all those N's at once. That might be an option here. Other than that, she might try to score a bit more somehow and leave a worse leave. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Quackle suggests here. Our nice engine friend that's following the game with us. So Inhale, okay. So that's a crazy option. That's from the I and Out Vi that just gives back a humongous score for Austin on his next turn, basically no matter what he has. So I would never make that play. What about you, Morris?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all these top plays, I actually haven't looked at Hen, but all of the longer ones, Inhale opens up the board in an insane way. Lanch and both Hanses open up the board in an insane way too. And Nance, excuse me, I misread the bottom one. So all of those are just really open. Phenol is probably the least risky of those, but it still opens up huge bingoing possibilities. So my guess is hen, and as you see, we're running a simulation now. So in case you weren't with us yesterday, we started running the simulation feature in Quackle. What that allows us to do is look at kind of the specific board positions. We normally rank the plays just by the predetermined Quackle algorithm, based on the amount you score and how good the letters are that you leave. With the simulation feature, you can actually look at, if we try playing out a few turns in this game, how well will they fare on average? So Laurie is electing to play hen. Interestingly enough, the play that Josh suggested before of Nanny is simming even higher, at least right before we cut to the bigger screen. So I think hen or Nanny. Oh, were you running Quackle while doing that?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
That's my humbleness. That's my humble side, right? So
Yeah,
X-Plant's going to come down now. It's going to be a game once again. Austin's been trailing for a long time. It's going to take a nice little lead here, and Laurie's going to try and come back. But she didn't draw any vowels, so it's going to be...
She drew an A. Oh, she kept an A. Right.
Yeah, it's going to be easy for her to score here because X-Plant is a verb, and it takes that S hook, and she can just play hands for a lot of points. Let me try to calculate that real quick. 44 points. Oh, it's already written. Well, that was useless.
Yeah, and if she doesn't take that spot, Austin will have Zoea directly above X-Plant. So I doubt she will go somewhere else, but that is what's at stake for this turn.
Austin's definitely hoping she will. But I mean, hand still gives him back a very nice spot for that Z tile, because za, short for pizza, that's one of those words you need to know, and it can score so many points, especially in these sort of spots. It's such a huge thing to draw.
Yeah, I'm guessing Azo is probably going to come down pretty quick. Similar idea to za, but scores a few more points, gets rid of an extra vowel, keeps that nice 2 vowels, 2 consonant leave. So I'm going to guess Austin doesn't waste his time. The one thing he might consider, but it's so much fewer points, I doubt he considers it that seriously, is do you want to block those key bingo lanes from X-Plant and play Azo for so many fewer points? That isn't the right idea. It's too many points to give up. As we like to say with Austin, the scoring never stops, and he proves that right here while he picks up a blank.
Oh wow, that's an immense draw for Austin. He could have also played Braze in that same spot for 4 more points, and I think he was looking at the tiles that remain unseen to him, and he realized that his leave of ABER is just so much better than the leave of AO after Braze in that same spot, and it's really going to work out for him, I think.
Yeah, he'll have Marblers through the L in X-Plants if Laurie doesn't block for a double-double, so that could be coming your way soon. Or I guess Ramblers is the anagram there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, what do we think Laurie's going to do? Is she going to be able to block that? Now she's on her back foot here, so she'll probably not want to do that.
Yeah, well, this is the first time Laurie is down all game, and it's a tough position because a play like Feline through the L and X-Plants often is the kind of play you want to do to clear up a lot of those letters on your rack. Let's actually, if we can, get a look at what the tile bag is from Laurie's perspective. So we are winding down. There are only 9 tiles left in the bag. When you see 16 unseen, that means 7 of those are the 7 from Austin's rack, which are probably the best tiles essentially in the group of letters that Laurie can see, and the other 9 in the bag. So it's tough for Laurie here. I mean, if you're down by 52, you kind of have to think, I need the draws to go right for me and badly for Austin here. So my guess is she has to leave that side of the board open, try to get rid of her F now, score a bit. And Let's see what she's trying here. So she's probably doing
Oh,
Elfin.
Elfin. That's a great idea. Because one of those tiles that she really wants to draw is that blank tile. And at this point in the game, it's very important. Whoever draws the blank tile is probably going to have a very good chance of winning this game. If Austin draws it, it's much worse than for Laurie to draw it, since Laurie is behind. So that's something that we call tile turnover. At key points in the game, it might be worth it to play more tiles just in search of those really important tiles that you haven't drawn yet.
Yeah, so this is a really tough position for Laurie. You can't do much here, honestly. I mean, you wouldn't do something like FE off of and making Fa and N off of the A and explants. I mean, it scores so much, but
no,
yeah,
I
this
think
is
what
a good
she's
idea.
doing
Also.
is better, because that A in explants is really going to help her chances to draw bingo next turn.
Yeah, and this still will give her some bingo opportunities through the T in Re-Wet, which could definitely be her key way of coming back, even if Austin bingos with a double-double through Marblers, or through the L to make something like Marblers. My guess is that still won't be enough. Can we actually cut to the tile bag again? Let's see, because she needs to not only bingo after Austin does, but come back from a 52-point deficit. And Austin's bingo might be higher point because he'll be hitting ×4 with 2 double word scores rather than ×3 if Laurie hits a bingo starting with T. So what even are those high point bingos that are an option for her?
I wasn't seeing much there, and she definitely didn't want to draw I there, and I think that's going to be good game, unfortunately for Laurie, or maybe not unfortunately. No, definitely this is an unfortunate end to the game. It was a really good game, but now Austin's going to go ahead by over 100 points. There's really nothing left for Laurie to do.
And he is going to he's deciding if he wants to do Brambler or Ramblers. I think there is another B out, so I'm actually slightly surprised he went with that, but he's in very good shape now. I don't even see a way for Laurie to get a bingo that can score enough at this point.
I think the bag is empty, right? Am I right about that?
Oh, you're right, because there were 9 when Laurie played FEU and also just bingo to empty the bag. So it's a 7v7 match right now, but Austin has a 129-point lead. So it's virtually impossible unless Laurie figures out the most creative phony that Scrabble GO somehow accepts. It looks like it is a W for Austin.
Yeah, and now we're in the end game, and these players, I mean, even if they know they're going to lose, they still take the time to try and make the right play in the end game, because it's really good practice for when it does matter. As we saw yesterday, if you were joining us, there was an end game where there was only one winning play for Jackson against Cesar, and Jackson had the time to find that play. So end games are a very important part of Scrabble. It's the only time where you have perfect information about your opponent's rack in this sort of format. So she can calculate many options and really see what Austin will do in return. And unfortunately, this one is very, very rough endgame. But I'm sure we'll be seeing her probably at least score a lot of points or play at least 2 eyes off.
So while we are waiting for Laurie's next play, just a reminder, this tournament, none of the players are playing for their own profit. They are playing for charity. There are 2 charities that we are having donated money to. One is the NASPA Foundation for Youth Literacy, and that charity works to foster literacy, mathematics, strategic ability, and fair play among students through the facilitation and organization of word game play. We'll post a link in the chat for you to donate if you have the means. The other charity that we are playing for is Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is a book gifting program that mails free, high-quality books to children from birth until they begin school, no matter their family's income, no matter any sort of geographical concerns like that. If you're in the U.S. and you need books, the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library can provide that.
So we see Veil come down for Laurie as the game comes into its final stages. Austin has some nice scoring tiles, but both players here are definitely not thinking about that. They're just thinking about the next game and hoping to win that one.
Yeah, so Austin definitely has also some hot spots available for him. The A in Ramblers allows him to play a few different letters there, so he might go for that at some point. But yeah, they're not going to waste too much time here. They need the brain power to play up to 4 more games.
Yeah, definitely. Spuds is a great play. We actually saw the word Sybo, SYBO, last night, and Spuds will set that up for Austin, and also will set up a boy in that hotspot you were talking about next to the R and A and Ramblers. That's a really, really, really good endgame play and found in such a short amount of time. And hey, when you have those letters, it's really fun to look at the options and try to maximize your score.
Of course, and he's just, I think, doing a quick check to make sure that Laurie doesn't have any outplays. I'm guessing with EIIN. He doesn't see anything, so he plays Spuds. Great idea here.
Yeah, and I think Laurie's just going to play SINE or something for 12 points with that S and Spuds. And yeah, we're going to go quickly to game 2, right? No break. More Scrabble.
No break. Between games 1 and 2, we're always playing that straight through. So Laurie has her N in her hand now, or on her mouse now. And she's looking at a few spots for it, potentially. Too bad there's not enough space after Azo, because Azon is a word in Scrabble. That's always a nice back hook.
Yeah, Jugate would have been cool to see by Jugate come down at some point. I really like that word. I used it once to triple against former world champion Joel Wapnick. So that's a fond memory of mine.
Yeah, and there's also adjugate, which is often more useful when we're being judged in a Scrabble game. So Austin finishes the game. He gets the win. Takes a 1-0 lead.